All right, Black Box Radio. We are in the box. It is the first edition. You box it up. It's the first edition of.
No, she didn't get a text on her
Yeah, I
introduction.
got it. Dang, you heard that. I think that's I guess y'all. But I got this is the first edition of FiTT TWiNz for 2022.
Yeah,
How's it
yeah.
been for you so far? My
Uh,
co-host.
so far so good.
So far, so good. Well, we're in the box. This is the FiTT TWiN segment. We are expecting a guest. I'm Queen from Black Box Radio. We are a media platform for Black excellence. We are in Baltimore. We platform Black people, Black genius. We do everything Black. So we want you guys to subscribe to our website. As you can see under our faces, please subscribe. We're going to change some things up in 2022 and be a little more structured and get this content out. So check us out. Check us out at blackboxradio.com. And listen, come through our lives. We got some fly lives going through Facebook and YouTube. Check us out. All right, my co-host, the wonderful D. Amaadi Coleman. Can you tell the people what you do, baby?
Peace, y'all. This is Amaadi, aka the Belly Therapist and founder of FiTT Wellness. I help women feel better through fitness, nutrition, and just overall holistic healing. And I'm also a specialist in healing postpartum bellies. If you have a mommy tummy, come see me. I can help get you back to where you need to be, or where you want to be, I should say. With my 6-week Love Your Belly program.
Six
Hey,
weeks and you got a new belly?
6 weeks and you physically have a new belly.
Whoa.
And I need to say this. I don't think I ever say this
Say it.
in my intro, but my 6-week program, there is no physical activity allowed. This nutrition and just and I
That's
need
why
to
I need
say
to
this.
be
I
in
don't
it.
think I ever say this. You got some feedback going on. My intro, but my 6-week program.
I definitely need to be into something that I don't have to do any activity.
Well, there's breathing. There's
Oh, I knew it was some breathing. I
there's
knew it. I
there's
knew it.
there's some exercises you have to do that I show you how to structurally change the shape and makeup of your midsection. But
Okay.
during the program, there's no physical exercise, no jumping, no running, no weights, no boot camp, nothing like that for the whole 6 weeks. We focus just on your midsection through breathing and certain midsection exercises. So
Hmm.
that's
Y'all
what I
better hit
do.
her up. Where should they hit you up about that? That's what's up.
FiTTRibeWellness.com. I'm on Instagram, the Belly Therapist, and Fit Tribe Wellness. I have a YouTube channel, Fit Tribe Wellness. I have a TikTok. I'm just dabbling. I'm just a peruser right now. I do have a couple videos up on TikTok as
Oh, you
well as
do?
a therapist. Yeah.
Okay.
And don't ask me how I got 47 followers already.
Oh,
Like what I do.
excuse me. TikTok. I'm a talk tick. I ain't did nothing yet.
You a toxic.
I'm a talk tick. That's what's up. So you got that. That'll work.
Yeah.
That would definitely work.
Well, and I also do online fitness classes. I don't know if many people know that, but I do online fitness classes, upper body Monday, core conditioning, or midsection on Wednesdays, and lower body on Fridays.
So you
So,
guys need to check her out. Check out her page, and you could definitely do some free classes early in the morning. Rise and shine. So I
well,
love that.
you can get one class for free. People got to eat around here.
You oh one oh you get one.
You can get your first class for free, but I got 3 boys that I got to feed, and I know that moms out there understand that, and women that aren't moms still understand that. So, yes, I am a small Black business, so support a small Black business as you would a large white corporation.
There you go. That's the both of us. So listen, I ditto that one. Ditto.
Yeah, we don't go to Planet Fitness asking for a discount
Ooh,
unless you AARP and you got your AARP card to prove you getting your 10% discount. But treat the small Black businesses as you would the large corporations. That's all I'm saying.
that's right. Especially the Black woman owned business.
Yes,
What about that?
that.
So
all of that.
All of that. All of that. So the FiTT TWiNz, what do you perceive we're going to do in 2022? What are we going to talk about? Let's talk about what we're going to do, what we're going
Well,
to bring to the people.
we have 12 topics. We have 12 months, so we have 12 topics.
Yes.
And I think we should kind of be all over the place. I mean, I know that, FiTT TWiNz implies there's a bit of, a fitness or physical fitness component to that, which I feel like sometimes, I feel like no matter what we talk about, we always touch on the fitness aspect of
You
life.
always do, yeah.
Even if we have, whether we have a, jewelry maker guest or a doula guest or a yoga enthusiast, we still touch on fitness and wellness and all that stuff. So I don't know. Sometimes we could freestyle it. We
got some things coming tonight. We have Tierra Gregory, and we're waiting for her to come on. And she has a lifestyle brand. So I wanted to talk more about, because a lot of people are creating these lifestyle brands around, our things in our lifestyle. It brings awareness, it brings education, and also people are able to kind of sew into what you're doing. So it gives what you're doing a face more than anything. It's just like a logo. These lifestyle brands, it's amazing. So with FiTT Wellness, you have a clothing line, and she has one also. So I think it's very important. Not only do you actually kind of highlight what you're doing, but others are able to buy into it because listen, they're going to pay and then they're going to walk around with that on their bodies. So these lifestyle brands are very they're becoming very popular. I see them everywhere. So what made you start a brand with what you're doing? What made you start a brand?
Well, it's interesting because about 2 years before I came out with the clothing line, the athletic wear for women, I created a very detailed spreadsheet of different goals that I wanted to achieve with my business, and leggings was on that. I actually forgot that I put that on there, and lo and behold, 2 years later, I went back and checked out that spreadsheet to see if I hadn't, reached any goals. And I pretty much accomplished all the goals without even going back and checking to see if I was, on target and, on point with everything. So I had been I've been obsessed with leggings for a long time because I've been, wearing leggings for a long time because, working out and everything. So, I don't know. I used to post long time ago before FiTT Wellness. I would post leggings of the month, and it would be some leggings that I had at that time. And I would post, I would pose, and I'm like, okay, leggings that I like for the month or whatever. They weren't mine. So I've always kind of been obsessed with leggings, and so I guess just my love for leggings and knowing that, I gotta wear them, and whoever's gonna be working out seriously is sweating, they need to wear them. So why not just create some?
That makes sense. That makes sense. So how has that been for your brand? How's that been? Has that been something positive for your brand?
I think so. I think it kind of it stretched my business sense. It stretched my experience. It stretched me in the sense of having to set up systems to be automated. And
so you drop ship? You drop ship?
I drop ship. Yep. Okay. It's drop shipping. Yeah. It's drop shipping. And to just set up everything and design everything and to, set the price, make all the different apps and software connect and notification and, making sure the customer's satisfied and, and, knock on wood, I haven't had any returns or complaints or anything. So, yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I've been thinking actually recently that I've been thinking I should dabble into Google Ads, but I don't know much about Google Ads.
If you got Google money, damn it. If you got Google money, you could dabble into anything.
Well, I guess I could. Yeah, but if you don't have a plan and if you don't know where you're going, you could waste a lot of money and time.
That's true.
So you want to make sure you're clear about what the next step is, next 5 steps before you start, spending that money.
Yeah, well, looks like our guest is here. We are
Hey, guys.
officially, hey Tierra.
Hey, Queen.
And that's Amaadi, my co-host.
Hi, Tierra. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? How do I pronounce your name?
Amaadi.
Amadi. All right, I got
I
that.
love it. Are you sparkling over there, Tierra? Let me get my glasses.
Listen, listen, let me
Listen.
tell you. Let me tell you. I am sparkling. The sparkling is actually sweat. Y'all, it's a reason why I'm late. Definitely a reason. Listen, because I try not to be late. I couldn't even get my real camera set up situation. I have to do it from my phone. There is an entire fire going on directly across the street from me. And
Really?
it started at about 6:15. And I'm talking four fire trucks, smoke out the windows, fire flames,
Oh,
everything.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy. I mean, they finally got it under control. I mean, you probably can hear it. They finally got it under control, but they're still out there. And I was looking at that, hoping my neighbor, plural, are okay because it's an apartment building.
Oh my
And I'm
goodness.
just flustered all over. I'm just, so the
Oh,
glistening
well,
was
then we
actually,
can't get on you then. Oh, we cannot get on you for being late. Oh my
glistening
goodness.
was actual sweat, so I'm texting my one neighbor, like, are you home? Are you okay? I tried to look for the cars on the street to see, if I recognize who's at home and it doesn't look like anyone. I was waiting for them to bring someone out,
Oh
and that
my
did not
goodness.
happen. So I hope that everybody is okay.
Well, that's a blessing. That is a
Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah.
Listen,
So
reorient your phone. See if you turn your phone
sideways?
sideways. Let's try that.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, stay right there, sis.
Is that better?
You better know it.
Okay, cool.
That's yeah. We got more of your
Let
room.
me
Okay.
see if
Oh,
it's
that's just
more.
your shirt that has your shirt looks like it was sparkling. Now I can see it's just white and black.
Okay, let's see. There we go. Yeah, it's
You look
just black
good.
and white, little something. Thought I'd give some neck. Give some neck.
Well, we've introduced ourselves, and
Okay.
we would like to hear from you. Who is Tierra Gregory? Give us a little backstory.
Oh, geez. I like to prepare. I wish I wasn't flustered. So Tiara is your regular old Baltimore girl. Everything that you can think about Baltimore, all of the ills, all of the good stuff. I'm just Baltimore all the way around. A little bit about me professionally is that I am a career chaser. I'm like a career person. So I've had many careers. I started off as a software engineer out of undergrad, and then I went to law school at night and became an attorney. I've been an attorney ever since. And along the way, I've had several businesses, but I'll just talk about the last two because they're relevant to the show tonight. The first one is one that I started back in about 2018, sold Juvenation Yoga. It is my yoga business. So I love yoga. I'm a yoga enthusiast and I am a certified instructor. And I want to bring yoga to the Black community. So my practice is specifically targeted towards bringing all of the benefits of yoga to our people because our struggles are definitely unique. And I can tell you some stories about where that passion came from when we get there. But the second business and the one that
Wait,
I'm
wait,
the
before you
most
leave that, before you go to the second business, I
okay,
gotta I gotta infuse because I saw these black people at the I was looking on Facebook, guys. Gotta
yeah,
tell my black box is this. Looking on Facebook and I saw these black people doing all these stretches on the waterfront. I said, well, who is doing this on
that is
the water
me.
was in the back? It was so beautiful. And people were just on the water. And I was like, who is this person? Who is doing this? And then a year later at this event that I met you, I was talking about you, and it was you.
It was me.
I said I saw this lady doing yoga on the waterfront. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
And it's so nice. How did you think about going to the waterfront before you tell us your second business?
So the waterfront came about because of the pandemic. So it was
Mm,
definitely a pressure situation that turned out to be wonderful. So I actually was doing classes consistently before the pandemic at the Startup Nest. So the Startup
mm,
Nest was wonderful. The Startup Nest was a a hub for entrepreneurs, small businesses. It sold rented office spaces, or you could rent a desk. You could rent a larger space that's not quite in a private office. It just has space that you can rent. But the benefit was that you got with that several conference rooms that you could sign up for and use, a large space for events, and there was just several perks. So I was actually doing yoga sessions at the Startup Nest. That was my home. And when the
Mm.
pandemic hit, all of the regulations said that gyms were shut down and large groups, and yoga involves a whole lot of breathing, and there was a fear behind all of that. So I was out of business, really.
Yeah.
I was shut down. And so what I originally did when it was really locked down, I mean, really locked down, I went online. I started offering free yoga sessions every Sunday at 1 o'clock. And I mean, people came, they poured in. It
Really?
was a lot of people. It was their first yoga experience ever. And it was
Whoa.
virtual, so I could not see them or touch them, which is a big part of my teaching. And it was a different experience, but it was good. A lot of people got their first yoga experience virtually through me, and I was
Mm.
proud of that. And they were Black people, they were coming in droves, and it was good. And of course, it was free. I offered it free as a
Yes.
benefit to the community and to get people moving during the pandemic.
Mm.
And I got a lot of customers that way, a lot of clients. And when it was time to come back outside, there was a lot of encouragement to go into green space, go to the park, go, you know. And I said, hey, there's this beautiful waterfront over here. It's private. I wonder if I could slide, you know, going in there. And so I called some people that I knew, some people associated with the space, and they said, listen, at this point, they're opening it up to people to use because of the pandemic. So do what you're gonna do until somebody says no. And that's what I did. I just opened it up.
Wow.
I went there, and the support was tremendous. People coming out, it just was beautiful. And at one point, we had from 20 to 30 people showing up for yoga on Sundays, and beginners to intermediate, all kinds of people showing up. So it was a real blessing in disguise.
Mm. Every
Yeah.
Sunday. It was every Sunday.
Every Sunday, I just kept the same time every Sunday at 1 o'clock, give people time to go to church, get
Hmm.
home, or take care, whatever the Sunday morning routine is, take care of that, and then come get your 1 hour apiece on the waterfront. And it's very tranquil scene. Sometimes we get a little ambulance going, fire truck or something. And I just encourage people to send positive healing vibes to, with the truck or whoever is needing um, ambulatory service.
So are y'all stretching in all this cold weather? I know y'all ain't on the waterfront now.
No, 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 we're
No,
not. I
no.
am
Okay.
definitely not doing anything right now besides private lessons. I
Okay.
can be booked for a private one-on-one. I can also be booked for events where I will come and give lessons to a group. I am
Okay.
having a special for Valentine's Day. It's going to be a couple stretch for Valentine's Day, so that's going to pop up. And then actually today I got a request for a reunion. So I'm going to have a Soul Juvenation reunion session
Oh.
probably in February. And then hopefully, springtime hits us in the head, and when the ice melts, we'll be back on the waterfront.
Okay. So no, you're not going to pick up the virtual again.
The what?
The virtual sessions that won't happen anymore. You're just going to strictly wait and not do anything virtual with yoga.
So I'm really focused on getting a studio for myself.
I
So
get it.
I am, wanting to build a practice where I have a following, and that is happening. Some people just want me. They want to go to yoga class, but they don't want to go to any old yoga class. They want my yoga class. So that's important. And then just building up capital to be able to really go into this situation and grab a studio and live in that space. So that's my focus.
That's your focus. Okay.
That
All
is
right.
my
So let's
focus.
talk about what we're going to talk about, the lifestyle brand that you created. Let's talk about that.
Oh, my baby, my new
Mm.
baby, right? So my brother is, the one of the loves of my life. He's my baby brother, and I've been taking care of him since I was 4 years old, because that's when
Oh,
he was
wow.
born. And I always like to say he was my first client. I've been advocating for him since I was 4.
Oh, my goodness.
And I mean, that came into real life because, he's from Baltimore. He's what I would consider a street guy. He definitely has been my client several times in the real legal field. So
Oh,
I've
my
been
goodness.
advocating for him since I was 4 years old. And when he was 21, this is the story. So I hope now is a good time for it. When he was 20, because his daughter was about 8 months.
Okay.
So when he was born, when she was born around that time, he was diagnosed with diabetes. And it was learned that he had type 1 diabetes, which is juvenile diabetes,
Yeah, he was
which
born with
means
it?
that
Hmm.
he had been suffering from diabetes for quite some time prior to his diagnosis. So by the
Wow.
time he was diagnosed, it was an emergency situation. It was, let's save his life, because he was in a condition called ketoacidosis, where his bodily functions were breaking down on him because his blood and his organs just didn't have what they needed. And it had been going on and getting severe for time, but he was 20 and a black man on the street. He wasn't going
Hmm.
to no doctor. He was not doing checkups. He was just out here, just in the gutter, just living hard. And when it hit him, it really hit him. And I remember the day trying to convince him to go to the ER, and he was saying he didn't have time.
Oh.
I'm like, and he was also saying he couldn't see. So your vision is
Oh,
shutting down on you, and you don't want to see what's up with these eyes. So I
wow.
had to really convince him to jump in my car, take him to the ER. I had to stay there so he wouldn't walk out. When we got there, his blood sugar was off the chart. It was so high that there is an initial test that they give you that is sort of like a finger prick, and they put it on a meter, and it goes up
Yeah.
to 600. Well, his was going past
Yeah, the
the
glucometer.
600.
So they put it on the glucometer and he bust that out.
He busted it,
Yep.
and they were just pretty much like, "Sir, how are you walking? How are you here? Sit down." So they got the blood drawn and started trying to figure out what his real blood sugar was, but they started immediately trying to get that thing down, fluids, trying to, and he was still saying, "What time am I leaving? What time am I leaving?" And it
Wow.
just didn't hit him. It took it took 15 years for him to take this thing seriously, even
15
though,
years after that?
yes,
Whoa.
yes, 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 even though he walked in such critical condition. He was in a life and death situation, and he still was not really registering the severity of the situation. So that was an experience. He went through life for a little while, kind of rejecting his diagnosis. He was like, that's nothing. And just not really accepting it, not wanting to deal with it for loads of reasons, not just because he's a hard head, but comprehension. He just wasn't comprehending it. And it wasn't being broken down to him in a way that he could accept and understand. It was, how it is in the medical field. Sometimes they're just not delivering information in a way that's accessible to some of our people. And that's what was happening with him. And then at the same time, nobody was really walking him through it because he was, 20 and 21. It's like, you grown. Go to the doctor. And everybody presumed that he was taking care of it. And it just wasn't happening. It wasn't.
Hmm.
And doctor emergency visits started to get more frequent, more severe. Fast forward 15 years later, we have a really, really bad situation with lots of complications. So much
Wow.
so that I found myself almost being an around the clock nurse, second to my mom. My mom was really caregiver number one.
Wow.
But I definitely backed her up. And we were almost caregiving 24 hours a day, around the clock, trying to balance work and making sure that all his needs were met, because you lose functionality as time goes by. So he has lots of complications, and he's still very young. He's 35. And so that is kind of like the general story. that so many Black men are dealing with. They're not talking about it, and they're hiding their diagnosis. They're not dealing with it. They're not calculating things the way they should be. They're not keeping their doctor's appointments, and they're dying. And it's very silent. And it was very easy for him to hide because he's a young guy. I like to say he's an attractive guy. And often I would go to the doctor with him or go to the ER with him because it was mostly ER care because he wasn't going to no private because they'll do that, you know.
Yeah.
So many times we will walk in and they would be like, "Oh, well, you know, he looks fine."
He
No,
looks good.
he's actually not fine. So somebody come, you know, and if he didn't have me as a mouthpiece, I don't know what, you know, because I come in acting crazy.
Well,
Off
you
of
know what?
her.
Everyone has an angel, so that's a blessing. But I'm hearing a few things. I'm hearing, of course, diabetes, which is decimating our race across the board. But I
Absolutely.
hear the approach on Black men and
Absolutely.
their inability to sometimes accept their diagnosis, and also to go to doctors and be vulnerable and seek care. And that is something that we have to talk about. I mean, because our Black men are being attacked in so many ways, and the health, that's something they have to take care of, and they let it go. My father did it. I see it all the time, and it's a real hard pill to swallow when you see it, and it's going on more and more. And so a young man at 20, so juvenile one, he type 1, he's born with that.
So actually, no, you can
So he's
develop
not
it
born. He
later.
wasn't born with his.
No,
Wow.
so you don't. Well, to be honest with you, we will never know. We won't know, right?
Okay.
Because there's no real meter on when he developed it, right?
When he developed the seal. Okay.
There's only when he was diagnosed. So there are multiple layers of issues here, right? You were able to identify several right just then. But then there's substandard healthcare, right? So,
Mm.
you know, my mom, as hard as she tried and as hard as she worked, and I mean, she's a superhero. She is a woman with a cape. She still had to work within her means, right? So,
Wow.
you know, we have a certain healthcare where you're getting your yearly checkup, and that's about it. Your kids are fine, you know, they all right. And you keep it moving. And his diagnosis was missed. So was it birth? You know, was it 10? Was it 13? Who would know? Who would know? Right? So
That's really hard. That's unfortunate because
it's
type 2 we
unfortunate, it's
develop.
difficult.
Yeah, type
Right.
2 we develop. It's a metabolic disease. So we develop type 1. You're either usually born with it or it displays itself very early. So it
It
happened to him.
it can be early, but it can display itself later too.
Well, we
It
see
can.
20. Wow.
Yeah, it can
Yeah.
display itself later too. Let me just take a note, something to come back to.
So that's unfortunate. So now, how's he doing?
So right now, he's okay.
Okay.
He is accepting. He is accepting help, but you
Okay.
know he is very different than
Mm,
what we know and love from him,
mm, okay.
and he is needing less assistance, which is great,
Which is great.
and getting some of his power back, and that is where the brand came from, right?
Got it.
So the brand is centered around another story. I think I explain things through stories. So one of the things that would always happen is that I would come to the hospital, and when I tell you, it was like he's not sick. You know, it's hard to believe that someone who looks so good is in such a critical condition.
Mm-hmm.
But I would come in and he would be like chain on, cap, fly socks, and it's just
Really?
like,
Looking good.
what, what's going on here? Up, did we lose Queen? I'm gonna keep going with the
Okay.
story. So it would be like, okay, you look good. You don't look like you need help, you know. And he would be like, oh, the nurses, this and that, because you don't look like you need help. That's why you don't look like a man in his sick bed. But it was
Right.
very important to him to keep up his image. It was super
Mm-hmm.
important to him to look good and look healthy and be dressed. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how he kept his self definition without even realizing it. And it would be sometimes so amazing that he would be coming out of a surgery or coming out of the ICU. And in a situation where you would think he would be in sterile clothes or, you know,
Dressed to the
something
T, huh?
something that's more like in the hospital. And I would come in and I would be like, okay, so where did you get this hat? Because this cap is not what I remember you having last time. Where did you get these socks? Where did and his chain would always be on, hardly ever in a hospital gown. And I'm like, don't you need to be sterile? Like,
Right.
where did you get this sweatshirt? Where did you get this hoodie? So let me ask, should I keep going?
Well, we are still live on
Okay.
Facebook. I don't know if we're live on YouTube. I know the live button is there. So I would say, yeah, keep going.
Okay. So, I
Oh
mean,
wait,
that is how,
hold on. She's
okay.
calling. Queen,
I don't know what happened.
can you get back in? Should we keep going? What should we do?
I'm trying to. I see you guys. There we go. There we go. Go ahead. Go ahead, Tierra. Nothing happened.
Hey, there we go. So I have been talking for a little bit, so
I apologize. I don't know what happened. It just put me out. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Just for the sake of speeding things along. I think I shared some of this with you when I met you, just about how swaggy he would be even in a hospital situation, even after surgery, even after ICU. And that's where the moniker kind of came. I told him, I used to say, why are you so swaggy? You always just dripping, just sauce, just, all the time, no matter how sick he was. And I started calling him Swaggy as a joke. And then I remember Fife from a Tribe Called Quest. He also had diabetes, and I remember he called himself the Funky Diabetic in a rap. And I was like, so you like the Swaggy Diabetic? You the new school? You the Swaggy Diabetic?
Yeah.
And so that's where the concept came from, and it turned into a thing. I would call him that, and I said, listen, why don't we start something about it? Because he started saying he wanted to speak to people. He didn't want people to end up like him. And I said, well, you can market yourself as the Swaggy Diabetic. And he was like, I like it. And we talked about it. And then it went through several creative phases where we just brainstormed. And then it was like, well, let's just do t-shirts and sweatshirts. And so that's what it is right now, is t-shirts and sweatshirts. And the purpose of them is for people suffering with diabetes, either type, and for people who love people suffering with diabetes or support people, just to bring a level of pride around the diagnosis. Not that it's a great thing, but it is a thing that is quite common, and it's nothing to be ashamed about. And it shouldn't be hidden. And through him, I could see that you can keep your self-definition. You can still be yourself with this disease. You don't have to become a sick person. You don't have to become something other than who you are or who you were pre-diagnosis. So that's what the brand is all about. It's about bringing a face to diabetes, especially in young people, young adults, and children.
So it was really important for him. That's amazing. So it was real important for how he looked and how he appeared.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that might be the most important thing to him. I mean, a lot of, how it is in our community, a lot of resources are put into how we look, even when resources are not being put into more things that would create actual wealth. We are very, very invested in how we look, how we dress, how we show up, how we appear. And that was the thing in his life. And it's how he showed up.
And that's
how he still shows up. Right. It speaks to
young people, they want to be fresh,
Absolutely.
No bend in their sneakers, they got to be white, that's them. And I get it. So when he's young, he's in the hospital, he's like, listen, I'm going to look good. These nurses going to see me. I'm going to be fresh. I get it.
And let me tell you, the nurses, they was coming, honey. The nurses was like,
oh, they was coming. I'm like, he was swagging it up.
Who that? Even the dietary ladies, they come and bring an extra food. Who that?
He had everybody open in the spot. He must be. He was doing his thing. I love it. So, do you want to chime in? Talk about the Swaggy Diabetic?
Well, where can people find the apparel?
So everything is very, very new, and starting off. So right now we have an Instagram page. It is at Swaggy Diabetic. And Swaggy is spelled SWAGGY. So Swaggy Diabetic.
Okay.
The website will be, once it's released, it will be released on Friday. And so I
Oh,
will be posting a whole lot about the website is live, etc.
okay.
It will be,
Pre-release.
yep, it will be swaggydiabetic.online.
Oh,
Swaggydiabetic.com was taken for some reason. I have no idea why.
is that
But
right?
it's part. Somebody bought it and just left it,
Holding
Yeah.
on to
for someone to
Yeah.
purchase. So we're Swaggy Diabetic online, and so we can do something different. And there are t-shirts available and sweatshirts available for purchase to support him
Okay.
and bring some power to him. But also, when you buy it, not only are you supporting him, but you're bringing some power to the diagnosis and people who suffer from diabetes in their youth. So
Okay.
there is some diabetes awareness facts on the website and ways to get connected and build community, because that is a part of the movement that we want to develop. We're starting with t-shirts and sweatshirts, but we intend for this to be a full movement of people who are associated with this disease, who are
Mm.
trying to come together and bring some power to it.
Okay. So you're gonna put some education around this.
Absolutely, we have to. My mom, she is a big part of this because, there's possibly some guilt maybe around not seeing it,
Mm-hmm.
not noticing. But
Sure.
you can't beat yourself up because children don't always show, or you can't always recognize a disease in a child with symptoms like what will show up with diabetes. And like one of the main symptoms is extreme thirst, right? So how many people have thirsty kids? The kids are out. And back then we were playing outside, right? So we
Yeah,
running. And he's a
that's
boy.
true.
So he's got football, he's got little league, he's got all, and he was just a thirsty child. He was just drinking and drinking. And
Was he?
then there's Kool-Aid,
Oh
He's
Lord,
drinking
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid and the
Well,
little
he be in the
jug of
bathroom
juice.
a lot too. Diabetics usually pee a lot too.
Yeah,
They pissy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Urgency.
Mm-hmm.
So, not necessarily having to go a lot, but the urgency of it. And that's another thing. Kids wait until the last minute. So, would it alarm you if
That's
you have a
true.
little boy that's running into the house, darting straight up to the bathroom because he get ready to let it go? And it's like, why you hold it? And
Yeah.
it may not be that. It might be he seriously did not have to go 2 minutes ago. And now it's like the race for life to get to the bathroom.
Well,
So
it'll be good for people to have some signs, like on your website, like mothers that have
absolutely.
signs.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what
Um,
the awareness page is for.
hmm.
So we
Okay.
have a little bit there. So there's some of the symptoms in combination. When you see them, you should be, you know, wondering if your child has diabetes. And also, it's not a typical test. They don't screen for it all the time. So, you have to talk primary care. You have to talk to your primary care doctor when these symptoms start to come up and kind of notice them. If you don't notice them, it seriously can go undiagnosed for a little while,
Wow.
which
Man,
is his story.
which is his
Yeah.
story. So how does he feel about it? His story. Is he now getting to the point where he shares, or he's still kind of,
Yeah, I don't know. It's a
you
work in
don't know?
progress. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
work in progress because there is a lot of let's say, a lot of emotions, a lot of thoughts around who you are, right? And
Mm.
who accepting that you may be someone else now. And he's going through that process of
Okay.
accepting who he is today instead of holding on to who he was 15 years ago. And that's
Mm.
a person that he has not wanted to let go for this whole time. That's why it's been
Really?
so delayed, because he's holding on to a reality that might
Mm.
be, out of touch.
No longer serving him.
Yeah, it's
Right,
not serving
right.
him. Wow. So,
So
in, in in other words, you can kind of think that you're different, and like I got to keep up this person that I was, but really
yes,
that person is gone. You got to treat your disease.
yeah. And
Wow.
then there's a point where, I realize, and, other people realize, there comes a point where then your new definition of self, realizing that you're not the only person with this new definition. There's a community of people out here. And
That's true.
connecting with those people, I find in him, and it's probably common in other Black men, a reluctance to connect, especially when the community doesn't look like you. And what we together have realized in creating this, we put the Instagram up. There's a whole community of what they call diabetes influencers. They don't look like
Mm,
us. They don't look
Mm.
like him, and they don't have his story. And there's a
wow.
reluctance to connect. It's like,
Yeah, there's two things I wanted to point out here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's important that we talk about like what you just said. You know, he doesn't recognize himself in the established diabetes community, which 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 implies there is a need for
Yep.
him to first, going back to the second point I was going to make, mourn the loss of a part of his identity. So he's
right,
probably mourning right now, and that will pass. There's a certain point in everyone's life, I would argue, that there's a mourning phase. We might not be aware of why we're down, why we're depressed, why we're sad. We might think it's a midlife crisis, whatever the case may be. But in his particular case, it sounds like he's mourning pieces of himself that have, I don't want to use the word, kind of melted away, but
mhm,
he's grown out of. And so he can use this experience as a powerful, powerful tool to propel himself to be the face of, the community
Swaggy
of color.
Diabetic. Hmm.
Yeah,
Of young, black, and diabetic.
yeah.
Yes,
I
Yeah.
mean, because I mean, there, like you said, there's so many people that look like him, men and women, and children that are going through this. And first of all, they don't know what the heck is going on. They don't know what to do. They're
Yeah.
scared. They like your brother. They were trying to hold on to a certain identity, from early on in his life. Maybe you all need to create something similar to like AA, where you can have like groups of people like talk and share and
Like
know
a
that
group.
they're still there.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
that's the hope. That's the hope. It's all happening so fast, and we're going through some um, trying to find what this will be. Is it going to be foundation ish? Is it going to be nonprofit ish? Is it going to be a for profit? So it's just so much to think about and so much to consume. But the community is thirsty for it. The response has been overwhelming. When I go to CVS, just to get like, whatever, I know the language, I know the prescriptions, I know the names of things that are associated with advanced diabetes. And the lines are always full of people asking for this stuff. I know that the community is there. And it's just about striking into it and really connecting from a space of empowerment, though, not just from a space of we're going to sell shirts. That's not the point, right? The shirts are a tool for connecting. It's not just a tool to make money. That's not what we're here for. That's not what this space is being created for. It's
Okay.
really about creating something where people will take care of themselves better because they can connect, and they will be able to ask other people for resources. Where did you go for your feet care? Or did this ever happen to you? And just make friends and make community so that you're not running back to your old friends who can't relate. And
Mm.
you're not running back to a community that can't relate. And so,
That's true.
you go out with your friends and you eat.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily what a type 1 diabetic is doing.
Yeah.
They're not eating to for for community. They're not
More
eating
casual.
for
Yeah. Wow.
right for enjoyment. They're eating for actual survival. I mean, their food and balancing what's in it is the key to their survival.
Mm.
And you have to have a team. You have to have people. So
So
that to me, that's
how was he balancing the food thing? Like, because I'm
it's
sure
tough.
he didn't have a diet that promoted for diabetes. So how is he balancing food? Because food is the
It's
issue.
very tough. It's very
Yeah, it's
tough.
very important. Very tough. Okay.
Very, 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 very tough. Um,
Wow.
you know, I am 100% full speed ahead with this thing and saying share everything, right? But he's still a little reluctant. So to balance that out, I'm just going to say that he has other complications that have the opposite dietary requirements. So
Mm.
he has now multiple comorbidities that are working against one another, right?
Oh
So his
man.
diet is extremely limited, and that
Yeah.
can drive a person crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's really tough. It's really tough. But what the power in it, though, the power in going through it, watching it, and the message that comes out of it is grab a hold of it early so you don't have to get to this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do what you need to do
Prevention.
to.
I was gonna ask if you can talk to the viewers about some of the common symptoms that they might kind of overlook but need to, pay attention to.
So as we already discussed, one of the common symptoms is thirst, extreme thirst, urgency in going to the bathroom, also craving carbs, craving sugar, eating a lot of it. There is the typical fatigue. You just feel sluggish. When there's an onset, you feel sluggish, you feel sleepy, and just a mood change. Actually, one of the symptoms is moodiness, right? So it's easy for people to recognize it in you. So a person who's having mood swings, hot 1 minute, cold the next, as far as their mood is concerned, those are some common symptoms.
Mm.
And that's hard because that could be anything. That
Hmm.
could be anything.
Wow.
Absolutely could be anything.
Well, one of the things that I'm concerned about, of course, is the black men thing, and he would be very, very good to be like a spokesperson because black men need to see themselves. Everybody do. When you're looking into anything, you need to see yourself, and for him to be a black male, a young black male, it would be great to, for him to actually educate other black males because it's a problem
Absolutely.
in our community. Yeah. So
I
I
would
hope he gets.
love that. And, I'm working for that to be the reality, but there might be a space for other spokespersons as well. There might
Hmm.
be a space for there to be, more than one swaggy diabetic. I mean, there may be, I am thinking of a space where people become ambassadors for the Swaggy Diabetic brand, and they have their own story. Everybody has their own story. I've been reading because of the Instagram. I've connected with so many people suffering with type 1 diabetes, and we sit and we read about people's story and kind of connect with them over the Instagram. There are people who are diagnosed at 3 years old with type
Yeah.
1.
Yeah,
And
that's what it is. Juvenile. You're born with it mostly.
so, one of the things that's difficult is that with type 1, your ability, your insulin production is completely depleted. You have to depend completely
On
on
insulin.
insulin through a syringe. Your
Yeah.
body is not producing any insulin at all. So,
Yeah.
for a 3-year-old, that is
Hmm.
incredibly difficult because they
It's
cannot
incredible.
say, I feel dizzy.
Yeah.
They're not going to say, I feel anything really except crying, maybe. And that is just incredibly difficult. So, someone with that story, it needs to be told.
Yeah.
So, I
That's
mean,
true.
it's so much more than just a young adult, there is children as well. So,
Yeah.
there needs to be a space there for parents who are trying to manage parents, grandparents, siblings, just trying to help. And the disease is, it just does, you're not necessarily giving yourself this disease. There is this perception that if you eat right, if you diet and exercise, you won't get diabetes. Now, that may be true for some people. It's not true for everyone. People with type 1 diabetes, there's nothing that they can do to stop it. It's
No,
autoimmune. There's nothing that you can do
nothing.
to stop type 1 diabetes.
Type 2 is the only one that can be prevented in some
Yes,
way, not type 1. Yeah.
yes, not type 1.
Mm-mm.
And because type 1 is like walking a tightrope, meaning you have to do manually a function that God created your body to do automatically. That is hard. And so you are walking a tightrope to keep yourself from being either having too much blood sugar, which is dangerous, or having not enough blood sugar, which can just kill you.
Mm. That's a hard one. So that's a lot. And, we talk about, when you think about your own problems, like, wow. And
Yeah.
without insulin, there's no food digestion. There's no, that's where we get our power from. And the pancreas, if it's not producing any or it's producing too little, you're gonna feel it.
Right.
It's very important that insulin is a very important function of the body, and we take it for granted when yours is producing, but when it's not, whew, it could be hard. So I really I feel for him, but I think once he get a hold of it, he can definitely tell a story and be a good example.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I'm so used to being his mouthpiece. If he don't tell the story, I'm going to tell it. I'm going to get out here, put it
I can see that.
all on Front Street for everybody to hear. So,
Well, are you
we're working
embarrassing
together.
him? Sisters embarrass baby brothers. So
So a
let's be
little
clear.
bit, and
Yeah,
that's
I
a
think
real thing. That's something to also be talked about a little
yeah,
bit. He
yeah,
still has a little bit of, this is private. And I've heard it from it. Some people don't want to be called a diabetic. It's
sure.
kind of a label, and it's embarrassing. It's personal. And it's something that they rather the general public not be aware of. And I feel I don't suffer from diabetes. So while I can empathize, I don't know if I can really understand. It's tough. It's tough. So I can speak, truth to power, and I can try to put a battery in people's back, but everybody's journey is different, and every person is different. And some people are not going to be receptive to the brand. Some people are not going to be receptive to this idea, and it's tough because it's highly personal.
Mm,
Nobody, especially men, no, they don't want to walk around with a badge that says, I am a sick person. And to some people, the word diabetic means just that. I am ill. And I don't
mm-hmm.
want you to know. I don't want you to see me as that. I want to be vibrant and, full of life. And you can be that, though. If you get control of this thing and you reach out and you connect to good people and good doctors, good specialists, you can be vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
You can be vivacious. You can be everything, even with the diagnosis, but you have to take control of it. And I think that's the part that we want to connect the most, is how do you take control of it? And how do
Mm.
you, get a hold of yourself enough to take control of your diagnosis and not become a victim of it?
My family has a lot of type 2 diabetes. And I said that was one of the things that I've really worked hard on is I don't want type 2. I don't want it developing. I eat a certain way so it doesn't develop. I try to keep myself in a space where I can control it. It's a metabolic process. But it's something that's affecting everyone, not just Black people. It affects everyone, but definitely you can be fat, you can be small. Small
Yes.
people have diabetes too. I tell people all the time, don't think just fat people have diabetes. It spreads. Children, it really has no requirements. And
Yeah,
so,
my brother is a very slim guy. My brother has
wow,
always been really slim. He's very tall and he's very slim. He's never
wow.
been chubby, big by any measure. So
and those can be diabetic. So type 1 you can't get away from, but type 2 you really got to look at your diet. You got to look at how you treat yourself and your family history, because it can be something that the family can develop as predisposed. It doesn't mean that it has to be. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it can be predisposed. So
There's
anything you want
also
to
just
say? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
gestational diabetes, can
Yes.
show up.
While you
People are
pregnant?
walking around, they're pre-diabetic. You go into a pregnancy situation
Yep.
where your body has all kinds of things happening. And then you get gestational diabetes. Gestational diabetes can be transferred to your baby. Your baby
Yep.
can be born with gestational diabetes.
Yep.
So there's, different conditions
And a
in
lot of
our
women who have
community.
that gestational, they keep diabetes after. I have a friend who she got it during pregnancy, and now she still has diabetes, and her child's 25. So she never went back.
Never got rid of it. Yeah.
She never got rid of it. She didn't have it before she was pregnant, had her baby, and she's had it ever since. So that can
It,
happen.
in our community, it is just so important that we, the people who know, educate the people who need to know. Because, the medical field is not always standing in our corner in the way that we need. Our needs and concerns are not always understood the way we need them to be understood. So a lot of times things are overlooked. So, we
Mm,
have to be better mouthpieces for each other.
wow. That I think you said the jewel of the night. You got to be
Yeah,
better mouthpieces for each other. But the part of
absolutely
it,
we do.
yeah, is education. Education is so important. But people, diabetes it's so many foundations out here. It's so much literature out here for diabetes, but it continues to manifest and fester. And I know it's the sad diet too. A lot of it is how we eating, a lot of that, and then people who are born with it. But it's very prevalent in this society, and there's a lot of information, but it's still something that people are dealing with.
Absolutely it is. It,
Yeah.
it, it definitely is. And this has been a true struggle over the last 2 years, especially during this pandemic. It's just tough in hospitals, it's tough in nursing homes. Nursing homes, oh my goodness.
Mm.
I've been, whew, let me tell you, the lawyer in me has considered so many lawsuits against nursing homes,
Wow.
class action stuff, because it's just really sad
Mhm.
watching the care that our people are getting, and especially in the low income bracket. It's deplorable, and
Wow.
it really does pull at my heartstrings. And if my story tonight didn't tell you, or my personality isn't coming through, I'm gonna tell you something. Everything that I do, most of my projects are rooted in serving the community. The community that I come from. I know what this community is. It raised me. And I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like to be struggling. I know what it's like, with a young mom. And
Mm.
I make it my personal business to fortify some of those weak points.
Mhm.
The next me is here, and the next you and you, they're here, and they're growing up on these streets. And a lot of spaces in Baltimore have not improved at
Mm-mm.
all. Not for health, not for food access, not for
No.
safety, police, infrastructure, housing. Is all still the same since I was 5.
Mm.
And so, I just have a passion for different spaces within that struggle, and they come through my work. So, even yoga is, bringing it to a space. One of my reasons for bringing yoga to the community is that we struggle with a lot of addiction. It is, one of the root causes of so many of our issues. And yoga is a great coping tool. It's also a great tool to learn self empowerment, mental strength. And we don't get enough of that practice. We don't even want to say we're going to therapy. Meditation is like weirdness, So bringing that into the space where I grew up, hopefully can give people tools to use so that they're not resorting to drugs and they're not resorting to alcohol just to cope with day-to-day issues. Take an hour and come with me and forget about your problems and see how that empowers you. So even with yoga, it's always trying to fill in spaces that I recognize were missing, in my life. So.
But people out here, they're running away from their trauma, sis. And meditation, you got to sit with what's going on in your head.
Yeah,
Yoga, you had
exactly.
it's mindfulness, and trauma is something that we're running from. And a lot of times, you said people don't go to therapy because they got to sit with that trauma.
Yeah,
and,
it's
and
hard.
it's hard. It is
It
a
is
hard
hard.
process, and we see it even from professional to low income. We all have some level of trauma that we've experienced or went through, and a lot of people can't deal with it. They keep running, and unfortunately, the coping mechanisms are from food addict to
Yeah.
dope addict, but it's all addiction.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's rampant, and a lot of the food addicts become diabetics. You just see it just continues to be
Yes.
this process that we never, and then heart disease because it breaks down your vasculature. So you just have all of these issues because you never dealt with the real problem.
Right.
So and that trauma is big. And so if yoga is going to help you, we need to do something, and it's not going to end. So that's what people running from. They're running from that trauma. What do you think, D? They're
I
on the
can.
trauma run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Behind every addiction, there's some form of trauma or some
Yeah.
kind of coping mechanisms that were created because of trauma, but now they're long term and now they're an issue. Short term coping is fine, but when it becomes a long term
Yeah.
habit, it can become detrimental, and so then addictions start to form. So I completely agree.
Yeah, it's addiction thing. It's hard to get to, but we have to. It's eating our community up.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm intrigued. I gotta come. I always say I'm going to do something, but I gotta come on that waterfront when that opened. I got to see that because I saw it on the
Well,
internet, and I was like, okay, water, black people stretching and sweat. That's what I'm talking
I'm
about.
gonna tell you what. I plan on doing full fireworks for the springtime. So you
Oh
will
my goodness.
definitely see activity on Instagram, activity on the website. There are some ladies who do different things who want to work with me and offer different sessions. So as long as we're able to be out there on that waterfront, because one day somebody gonna come and say, "Excuse me, what's the
What they gonna say, Tierra?
excuse me?"
I love it.
But for as long as we are able to be out there, it will be a thing. And then look, when they come in, I can say, "Excuse me," I'm gonna be standing right there and say what you need. So it's gonna keep on. It's
Yeah,
gonna keep on going. It's gonna keep on going.
I
But
love it. From what I
I
can see.
definitely plan on bringing it, and I hope to see y'all out there stretching. I teach at every level. Okay,
Okay.
so you can come broken, you can come injured, you can come. One of the things that warmed my heart, even more recently, because it was actually cold out. The ladies come out in their hoodies when fall is hitting. They be like, "No, I'm coming. Are you gonna be out there? It's not gonna snow until." Uh,
I love it. Oh,
but
that's so
one of the
funny.
things that struck me is that I went through a whole yoga class with a beginner, and it wasn't until the end where there's a 1 minute meditation space where you keep still mentally and physically for a minute. It's the Shavasana pose, and I played a certain mantra, and she was 30 seconds into it, and she just jumped up, and I was like, okay, and she was crying, and I just went over and I knelt behind her and I just put my hand on her back. It's okay. This is what this is for. And she was just weeping and weeping and weeping, and I'll never know why. And of course, I didn't ask, but this is your space. Everybody else is laid out sleep. If you need to cry, cry, and it builds a little bit of sisterhood too. And she, when it was over, she was a little embarrassed, but nobody saw it but me. I was like, girl, if you need to come here and cry for an hour every week,
That's
I
gonna
ain't
change your
gonna tell.
game.
I'm not gonna tell nobody.
But that's gonna change again. That's them liquid prayers. That's gonna
Hmm.
help. You know, that's wow, man.
Yeah, so it really does move people, and I just hope that more of our people kind of latch onto it and give it a try. That's all I
Mhm.
ask is that people give it a try. And even if you don't do it consistently, you don't have to come every week. Come once a month. Come when you can and get this
Mhm.
good piece because it's really good.
I'll take
Really
broken for
good.
200, Alex. Did you say broken? I'll take broken for 200.
Then there's
Well,
the physical piece. You get a little physical exercise, you get stretched, feel a little sexy. It's a little bit of all that in there.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
mhm.
We definitely gotta um check that out when you start that again. And I wish you a lot of love with this Swaggy Diabetic. I think it's very interesting. When I saw you and you was doing the website and we talked about it, I said, "Ooh, I like that." You know,
Mhm.
and I always like
Well,
things where Black people can front, and that really we really don't have a space in, and we should have spaces because it's disseminating our race. We need to talk about diabetes.
we need
Yeah.
to. It's a
Yep,
discussion that needs to happen,
that has to happen.
and it
Yep,
needs to be in the front. It
and from
cannot
Black
hide
people. It needs to be
anymore.
from Black people. Black people need to
Yep,
discuss what goes on with Black people, and that not that no one else can, because it is a medical issue. But I think that if you see yourself and someone who is just you, it definitely gives you want to listen more. You know
yeah,
that you have the same live experience as them more than anything, and you would listen more if you see yourself. It's important. I think.
absolutely.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
think.
agree. I agree
So,
100%.
so Swaggy Diabetic. I hope the next time I can. What's his name? Can we get his name? What's the Swaggy Diabetic's
Sure,
name?
sure. His name is Donnie.
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 Oh, I love that name. That's one of I like that name. Okay, well,
Yeah, his
Donnie,
name is Donnie. And I'm working on Donnie, and we're gonna get Donnie on one of these radio shows,
we sure are.
and it's gonna be great.
I
So,
want to see your
I
swag.
oh, he probably be dripping all over the place. You ain't going just for this little square right here. But yeah,
I
I'm
can't wait
proud
to
of
meet him.
him. I'm actually
Yeah.
very proud of him. I'm proud of where he came, even though it took a while to get here. I'm proud of the progress that he made. I'm proud to come from a space where all odds are against us, and we're still here. And I remember posting once before, I'm so proud of him. I have seen so many of his friends leave this earth for different reasons, and he is still here.
Wow.
And he may have issues. We're working on some other things, but he's here. And I can still talk to him, and I can say, "You want me to post this? What you think about this?" And a lot of times, y'all, he'd be like, "Nope, do not post that." And I can't post it. But
Really?
um, I mean, I want him to be a part of it.
Yep.
The image is him. So we're working on it though, because sometimes we can discuss it and then he'll say, "Okay, I understand now," and then we'll post it, right? So I'm proud of his progress, and I'm so glad that we could share this product together while he's here.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be more proud of him. And so when I show him this tape, I want him to hear that.
Well,
I am
tell her,
proud of him.
Donnie, we waiting for you, bruh. Get
That's right.
better and swag on in here. I want to see that drip.
Hmm.
Yeah, we would love to talk to him because really his story is the story. It
Yeah.
is why all of this is here. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing that you care about your brother enough, and
Yes.
that now you're actually going to educate and bring and put something around it. That's beautiful and can help others. What else? What else? That's what we're here to do. You
It's really
know,
a need, y'all. It's really a need.
it's really a need. Really a need.
Hmm.
D, got anything to say? We almost out of here.
No, I'm just, I'm inspired. I'm proud of you for bringing his story public and
Yeah.
just the campaign that you are building around his experience with type 1 diabetes, and then also to speak to your yoga business and how because my tagline is creating wellness through awareness, and so you are actually helping to carry out my mission as well. So I'm glad that you are serving the community in the ways that you are, and just keep going, and I know you will. Just keep going.
Yeah, I will. I definitely plan on connecting with everybody that I can connect with who can, contribute something to make this thing really pop. So
Mhm.
I'll definitely reach out, and if y'all know any resources, send them my way because I'm gonna tap into them. If
Yeah.
you send them my
Yeah.
way,
You seem like that type that
hmm
you will tap in. So that's
yeah,
good. That's good. Listen, Swaggy Diabetic is a thing.
yeah.
When you told me about it, it's a thing. I saw your logo, love it. All of it, all
So
of it
I have
comes
a
together.
sweatshirt. I did
Oh,
pull a
let us see
sweatshirt
it.
out. Yeah, if I don't know how much you'll be
Why you
able to
don't have it
see it,
on,
but
Missy?
it's hot. I was like, remember I told y'all about the,
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot.
the
Pardon me.
thing.
Pardon me.
I was so hot. Oh Lord, I don't know if this is gonna work,
I can
but
see it.
it's
Swaggy.
on the. Yep, it's on
Yeah,
the
that's
shirt.
nice.
And they got a little gold chain on it.
Yeah, it's a little gold chain on there.
I see
It's the
it.
hat. Oh
I see it.
Lord,
You don't know
where
how
is
to
it?
do the camera. I
It's
see. There you go.
Yeah, I don't do this very often, but that's his image. And Lord, this is driving me crazy.
So he
That's his
approved of all
image.
of that, right?
Yeah, he absolutely
Okay.
approved. We made this together. We
Oh,
we
good.
designed this with a logo designer together. And it's him. It's his image. It's his likeness. So if you go to the Instagram, you can see it. It's Swaggy Diabetic. If you go to Instagram, you can get a more clear picture of it. And there's a few pictures of him up there. And when the website hits, you'll see him now. So the pictures that I posted are a little older, but you'll see him now. And we got him out to the photo shoot, and we took pictures, so you'll be able to see the Swaggy Diabetic.
Wow. So the pre-release. So when is the website and when that's gonna hit?
Friday, Friday. So
Wow.
on Friday, everything will release. You'll be able to order if you want to support or connect or just view whatever. Send it to people who need it. I would send it to people who have family members who are diabetics. I would send it to people who I know are diagnosed with diabetes. It's a lot of people out there who would like it. They would like it.
I'm putting it in the chat. What's this Swaggy Diabetic
So the
online?
IG, yes, Swaggy SWAGGY
Yeah,
diabetic
diabetic
dot
online.
dot online. So
Dot
it is up,
online.
but it's not quite ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that's coming out on Friday, right? Dot
Yes,
online. I never knew they had a dot online. Okay. Dot online website on Friday, right?
yes, on Friday.
And you'll be able to purchase and everything. That's excellent. It sounds like you're moving right along. When did you start? We never asked you that. When did you start this process?
So remember, the creative process has been in progress for years.
Okay.
Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving time, there
Eating
was a
day, a day where we eat.
actually it was a little before Thanksgiving. Let me get this right. It was cold out. I can tell you that it was this
Okay.
year, and it was cold outside. So we talking October, November-ish, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a period where we had a particularly rough spot. And I was just reminded again that I want him to see this before he is, for whatever reason, not able to see this.
Mm-hmm.
And I got energized again to bring it. And it was real energy this time. And I dragged him with me. We went out, we found a t-shirt place. He brought himself out, and we did what we needed to do to get some samples. And it was a thing fast. It just this year, since it's been cold, maybe about October.
Hmm. Okay. Just 2020,
Yep,
2021. Okay.
2021, 2021.
2021. So when I met you and you were doing the website, you were just starting this process. Because you did say
Yes,
that to me. Yeah.
yes.
Wow.
And the website is almost done, so you can be able to see the work that I did. But I built that website, and we got those shirts ordered, and everything is done with him. That's important to me because it becomes an interesting space when you are leading a movement that you kind of not a part of, sort of. And that's a difficult space to be in. So I try to make sure that I get his input because I can't
Mm-hmm.
speak for his struggle. I can
Mm-hmm.
speak from a person who supports his struggle, and I can connect with those people, but I can't necessarily, I don't have a lifeline to people who are actually struggling mentally with a disease that is trying to take them away from here. And he can,
It will come. You're going to get those people. You will have those. Once you start, people will, I think they will reach out. You will hear some amazing stories,
yeah,
of the mental breakdown. It might not come from your brother, but it's plenty of diabetics with plenty of stories. And I
right,
hope they share.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. Natasha Datig, she said, great work, Tierra. I don't
Oh,
know.
Natasha, hey,
Natasha, yeah, she said great work. So I wanted to mention that. So
that's my
listen,
lawyer friend.
that's your lawyer friend? Oh,
Yeah.
excellent. So what's the last thing you want to leave? Leave a jewel with the people. Leave a jewel.
Oh, pressure, just pressure.
That's what we do.
Oh, you know what? I have a jewel. It's actually from
You a lawyer.
the.
Ain't no jewels with lawyers.
Let me
Lawyers
tell you,
talk.
no, I got a good one because it's not even from me. It's from Donnie. It's from the Swaggy Diabetic.
All
When I
right.
asked him, I said, "Well, I'm gonna put your picture up, and I want you to give me a quote." And his quote was, "Don't be a fool. Keep your tools."
I love you, Dottie. Good job, Dottie. Don't be
Don't
a
be a
fool.
fool. Keep your tools. So, and that's on the website. It is. I actually said, okay, somebody really did.
That's his world. Don't be a fool. Keep your tool.
Keep your
That
tools.
can be. You can think of so many things that that
Yeah,
applies to.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So
Wow.
I put it right under his name on his little on a spot on the website. Don't be a fool, keep your tools. So,
Okay. Well, we love that jewel from Donnie. I'm the swaggy diabetic. Don't be a fool. I'm gonna put that in the chat too. So, Tara, it's been a pleasure. I
thank
met
you. I
you.
enjoyed it myself.
You were willing to come right on, and I appreciate it. I really I wanted you to meet Dee too, because she's a personal trainer, and you guys are all doing fit stuff. So it's good for you to meet her. And she's the belly therapist. I don't know if you know about her work. Do you know about?
I read that. I don't. And I read that
Tell
the
her a
belly
little what
therapist.
that is, Dee, so she'll know.
Please do tell me and
Yeah,
tell the
tell her what
people.
that is.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Amaadi, aka the belly therapist. So, I have a specialty within my business, and I basically help postpartum moms. Um, I don't want to use the word fix, but I help them heal their midsection once they've had babies. So a lot of
Hmm.
moms complain about, they want to snap back, or they want to, get
Yeah.
their stomach back, or get rid of the mommy tummy. So I created a 6-week program called Love Your Belly, under my belly therapy service, where you go through a series of breathing exercises for 6 weeks. And we go over posture, we go over breathing, we go over movements, we go over do's and don'ts. And you basically restructure your midsection within those 6 weeks. And so
Okay.
there's a medical condition called diastasis recti, and my program helps to specifically address that medical condition that a lot of doctors and nurses and maybe even some midwives, they for some reason they're not taught this in midwifery school or nursing school or even medical school. But little people like little old me can diagnose you, and you actually, I can walk you through diagnosing yourself, and then you go through the program, and you basically, you have your 8-pack, right? People say 6-pack, but it's really
Right,
8-pack.
right. Yeah.
So after you give birth, those muscles separate. And sometimes, well, I would say 30% of the time, they don't close back. They stay open. Even
Okay.
after the child is, 1, 2, 3 years old. Sometimes they do, but 30% of women like me, they stay open. And so this gives the illusion that the stomach is actually bigger than what it is, because it's a structural issue with the abs. So my
Yeah.
program, um, um, through the exercises and the breathing and the posture technique, it helps to close the abs back and bring them back together. And so your waistline gets smaller, your stomach starts to look smaller. And then there are like a handful of symptoms that someone might be experiencing that also tend to fade away once the program's complete. So that's my
That's interesting.
specialty.
So there's a lot of space for us to connect. So I'm definitely gonna do that. There is a section of yoga, prenatal yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to connect with a young lady who was a specialist in prenatal yoga. So it was interesting in some of the things that she taught and teaching poses. So
Mm,
it sounds similar. And I'll be interested in connecting with you.
awesome.
Excellent. So I'm glad you guys met. I'm glad that we heard about Swaggy Diabetic. I am glad I met the person who's on the damn waterfront stretching black people out. I love it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
All
this I
sizes.
really, yeah, we so appreciate you coming on, Tierra. And listen, you're just starting, so you got to come back and give us the update, and you got to bring Donnie.
Oh, you know I will. It's a
Okay,
done deal.
done deal. Love it, love it. Listen, guys, we've had Tierra Gregory, Swaggy Diabetic co-owner. Thanks for coming and being with us on FiTT TWiNz. We boxed up and out. Can I get some deuces from my
Alrighty.
ladies? Deuces, Tierra, your deuces. There you go.
That's right.
There we go.